Hey, what's going on, guys? This is me, Yasin, and this time we're back with 3 Canadian legends who managed to get top 16 at YCS Costa Rica. Let's go!
Thank you.
Alright, cool. So, what are your guys' names and also team name, and also what deck did you guys play?
So our team name is Nah I'd Win,
Oh
which
my
only
God.
held true for day one. Yeah, it was a tough match. We were against a world player, so but we gave it our all, and we're excited to keep playing this format.
Beautiful.
We played double Fire King Snake Eye. We played the same list, Angus and I, and then Royal here played Flunder because we wanted to put basically like hedge our bets on one extra like shifter matchup. We kind of like having like that one off to randomly just get wins for us, and if we played perfect, we thought we could also keep going, and it basically worked out. But then,
Yeah, smart strategy.
so for the main deck, just like the Fire King cards, just 6. You don't need more. 2 Kieran's bad. 3 is really good. You grind with it, and it beats Veilers and Imperms. Like, we love it.
Yeah, and you can also just side out the third, so it doesn't like.
Yeah,
Yeah, when we go second, we take one out.
Yeah.
makes sense.
For the Snake Eyes, Flamberg, 3 Ash, Oak to play around Nib. 2 Popular because we're scared of math. We don't want to draw it. And then the 1 Diabell Star.
Yeah. Oak also just helps you play through draw as well.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah. And
It's
then
the combo where you get drilled and you're just playing a Snake Eyes deck.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys lose in 16?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So then Diabell Star, playing more is fine. We just couldn't find space. The list is already 41. So that's that for those. Then for the rest of the engine, like the 3 Wanted, and the Snake Eye, the OSS, we decided we didn't want to play the Snake Eye Field spell because we felt like it was when we used it in 1, it was win more, and when we draw it and like not search for it as a free +1, we usually found we'd rather have just had different cards, like have a hand trap or have 1 less card in our deck. It felt like it never really was like we only won this game because we had the Snake Eye Temple.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad. I'm not telling you shouldn't play it, but I think it was unnecessary, and we really wanted to put as much non-engine as possible in this list because we were terrified of like going second into the board and it just being like impossible to win if you draw too much engine.
Yeah. And we were playing it literally until like Friday. Like we cut it Friday.
Last minute decision. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Especially against like good players, they know how to make boards through interruptions. So you need as many as humanly possible.
Yeah.
That was our theory for it. And we'll go into that in a minute. So 3 Bonfire, we chose this over Circle because we are also playing Hang, the XYZ. So like you can do like infinite interruptions if you end with a Kieran in your hand because it's like Kieran pop, that gets the Grunix. Grunix will kill Kieran that summons Arvada that pops something. Then you can either use Arvada then, or you can go Sanctuary to make Yang, the nuke the board, which then triggers the Arvada. And then you can afterwards Skyburn the Yang and the Arvada to pop 2 cards, and then the Yang will bring back the Arvada and another card. Like it's so many layers of interruption from just having Kieran Fireburn, and then that's not without any of the other links or Princess. Like Princess on the Yang is really good as well. That summons 2 from the grave again. And we just thought that the amounts of value this offers in the Rogue matchup and just even in the mirror is way better than the Circle. Like what Circle does sometimes to beat like hand traps isn't even close to the amount of value that Skyburn adds.
Also, Skyburn's second effect comes up. If you think your opponent has Cosmic or something like that's going to deal with your field spell, you can just have this in your grave by sending off Diabell or something else, and it has an effect to protect cards from destruction as well.
Even from your own card effects.
No, by your own card effects. But he means like by a Lightning Storm, not Cosmic.
Yeah.
And then Sanctuary Island. We didn't play a third of it because we just wanted to really slim it down to as the lowest possible.
Yeah.
And we thought hard drawing it with 2 was enough. Then for our non-engine, these are our non-engine choices. We played Called By just because there's so many hand traps and it's not bad going second. 1 Talent because it's good with our siding patterns, and we look at it as 2 really good power spells for going first. And then the biggest decision for us is we wanted to play these 15 hand traps, and we just could not justify cutting it. So we made 3 Droll, 3 Nib, 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, and 3 Imperm.
Yep.
So we felt every one of these hand traps had a critical role in the mirror when it comes to combinations. We wanted to have the highest chance possible to draw 2 hand traps when we went second, so we wanted to play the full 15. And like Droll Nib are both absolutely insane in paired with any other hand trap in your deck. Like maybe sometimes Veiler Imperm won't get them there if they have a crazy hand, but we wanted as much math as possible to draw these with any of these or in combination. just to put them on no board. Like, we felt we were testing Cosmics, we were testing more talents, and we felt like if they did the full board, like one talent wasn't going to help us get there, and like having just one Ash, it might turn off them getting to the Fire King stuff, or they'll just open Island. One Veiler, maybe they have Kieran. So like we felt like just any one hand trap didn't do enough. Like one Nib alone, everyone's playing around Nib. One Droll, it might, if it's not like on Bonfire, they'll just keep playing through it. So we wanted basically to just put them on no cards, and honestly, like many games, we would hand trap them 2 to 3 times, and they'd just pass on nothing and be like, please don't have a good card.
Yeah.
And my only losses in the tournament were when I'd like make people pass on nothing, and they'd look at me like, I've lost. And then like against Dominic Couch, I made him pass on literally nothing. Top deck, I look at him like, okay, go. And because I just didn't draw anything with it. And you can maybe make one argument that that's where maybe a second Diabell Star would come in.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm cutting 3 hand traps to putting 3 more Snake Eye Ash. Like, and then like probably one Diabell Star wasn't going to get me there anyways because they'd have their own hand traps. So you kind of just need to hope that you draw a good amount of engine and non-engine. And like Cosmic wouldn't have got me there in the same way that putting him on nothing would have got me there. And that was our logic for it, for the main deck.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Suffocate your opponent, and then they can't play, hopefully, and then you just normal summon your Ash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Use your circular or Ash effect.
Same thing.
Extra deck, it's pretty self-explanatory, nothing too crazy. Link Karibo, Sunlight Wolf, Phoenix. This was a kind of last-minute decision. Glad we had it. Won us a few games. Dark, Hita, IP, SP. Heat, so a lot of people cut this. It's pretty good. There were a lot of lines we had where we just draw more cards, still end on the same board, just extra cards on our hand. 2 Princess. Just good for the grind game, really. Nothing too crazy there.
The playthrough Nibiru, I guess.
You need a second princess to play through Nib.
Yeah.
You play Nib on the princess, so it's necessary.
Yeah.
Emblem Whale, and then
Atlantis package.
yeah.
That's
OTK.
insane, huh?
Yeah.
Does everything.
Goddess, and then Grin Eternity.
Yeah, you guys mentioned how this card actually does come up, especially with Skyburn. I can see the logic. It's pretty good.
I summoned this 4 times at the tournament, and I won every game that I summoned it.
Yeah, me too. Every time I summon it, I won too.
Some people don't like it. I think it comes up way more than a flex like extra card.
Yeah, this card, if time wasn't called in our top 16 match, that won me the game. So it's a very good card. Side 3 crossout. We were playing a lot of hand traps and non-engine, as you saw, so this just kind of covered everything we would want going first. And
What are your thoughts on choosing between Crossout, Solemn Strike, Anti-Spell, Summon Limit?
we really liked crossout because not only were we playing a lot of non-engine and hand traps and stuff like that, but being able to hit cards like Snake Eye Ash or other cards in the mirror that literally just stop them. Like there were multiple times where I opened this, and if they don't stop you at all and you just do your full board and set this, it's just a form of interruption against like every other card in your main deck against their engine. So like normal summon Ash, call Snake Eye Ash, and then they just sit there like not being able to do anything.
The fact that you can negate even Talon, Cosmic, everything.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Like quick argument for this. Like if you play striking Ash, crazy, right?
Yeah.
But what's the point of striking Ash if I got hand trapped twice and passed on nothing, and I'm hoping to top deck a good card next turn and keep playing?
Yeah.
So like this is the double value where if I have a crazy hand, they Ash me, I'll just keep playing through it. I'll save this for their Ash, and then they literally can't beat my full board plus this.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I can't play through it, I'll just use this, make my full board. I love the duality of it. And against anything rogue, if I get my full board up, no rogue deck's beating me. Like if I'm not getting shifted, no one's cracking the full Snake Eye board. So like I'm putting this in against them if they have hand traps or not. Like this is going to get me there. I want it in my deck. And then again, Talent's Cosmic, so there's like random stuff that's good for it.
Speaking of Talents and Cosmic, we were playing just one Cosmic for this, and if you open it, you can just use it in the mirror anyways on the red cards. And second Talent's just for going first. Seeing it going first.
And we would take one of every hand trap out, keep 2 of every other one in, and then that's how we'd fit the other 5 cards.
It makes so much sense with this logic, actually. You guys really studied side decking patterns very well.
Lines are very
And our last
nicely
card for crossout was Shift.
Nice. Yes, yeah.
Called by plus call. We have 4 cards to beat Shifter when we go first into cash. So
Del, we thought maybe there'd be Lab, even though it's a really good matchup. It's good. It's good against the voiceless deck.
Branded.
Branded. It's just
Never
a card
sided it.
never sided it in.
Collateral damage, huh?
Yes. The Delta package, best card in the package. Delta and Gamma. It came out for me a lot. It's really good. This is basically just another Ash, essentially, like Ash Blossom. And then Gamma's just Gamma. It's insane.
What do you usually use your Delta against in the Fire King matchup?
A lot of things you normally just Ash most of the time, but usually you're hitting Sanctuary because You can protect it with that.
Either Sanctuary or Original Sinful Spoils.
Yeah.
Like, we just treat it as another Ash Blossom, but it's nice because they can't heat a climb with it.
Also, going second sometimes, if you hand trap them with like maybe Droll or something, like I had a game where I Drolled, they cross out Drolled, and then I negated their cross out with Delta.
Oh, yeah. Negating talents in our... Because we keep all these hand traps in going second and add these 3 more. So we have 18 hand traps post side.
What the heck?
I know, but then people are like, they're like, well, like Droll, they'll be like talents, they'll be like Delta. I like to keep my hand, please. And then like nib them after. I don't know.
Yeah,
We have, like, a really
I
good
hand trapped someone 4 times and then just normal dash and then won the game. So
The worst feeling is when you draw the driver 2 and then they go talent, look at your hand, and you got like 1 card left. Your opponent is basically playing a hand loop turbo.
And then last card, Scatter Shot and Kieran.
Okay.
Kieran's cool though because you can also just dump Ash Blossom in the matchups that you need Ash Blossom and then add it back with Sunlight Wolf, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, insane story about this.
Yeah.
We wanted to pick up Agave Dragon because we really wanted to play 2 talents in the side to have 3 in the main going first. But we asked every single person in the venue, we couldn't find one.
Yeah.
So we went, all right, I guess we'll just play this. And then in the only round we need to decide in a time card, I completely bricked on Arvada Kieran. So I summon Arvada. My opponent normal summons Ash. I negate, dump this, which dumps Scatter Shot, and he loses. But if it was Agave Dragon, we were never winning.
Oh my god.
So again, not saying that's better than Agave Dragon, but it's really funny that he was like, "Nah, keep me in." Like,
Yeah, circumstances can play in your favor sometimes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was crazy.
And that was a Snake Eye deck, and then
and for our teammate Royal,
And you got the enjoyable back and forth, very fun and
highly skilled.
highly skilled deck.
So I've been rocking this deck for like 2 years now. Top Vancouver with it. I was off it. I was playing it for Noble for a bit. Talked to Blake, talked to Angus, and they're kind of told me to pull it back out. The kind of the logic behind that was I thought in my head the Fire King matchup was kind of free as long as you see Shifter, and also
As long as you see Shifter, don't kill me.
which I didn't in top 16, which kind of sucked. But on the other end of that, the deck I built was I just thought my cookability with the deck, like I can cook basically anybody, unless Fire King kind of goes first, and then I play go second card. So my list was a little bit different, but pretty standard for the most part. We're playing Shifters, obviously. This is kind of the Flu engine. I was maining a DD Crow. That came up a ton. The DD Crow, I destroyed a Voices player with that. There's a line where when they go, they send the Trias. The Trias tributes the Herald, or the Herald on board.
you crow the Diviner.
You crow the Diviner and then they miss timing because Diviner has to hit the grave. It's going to miss time if you do that, so he lost because of that as well. That was really nice.
It's not really that it misses timing, it's just that it's not in the same trigger location.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Ben 10 and Drytron.
Misses a chance to activate.
Yeah,
So it couldn't activate. So that was nice game 1, and then game 2 was kind of easy. These are the big birds. MVP of the weekend was actually Apex. It came up a ton. I ended a lot of boards on double M-Pen or Mist Valley, and then it was tricky because the Rise of Spin came up a lot, but then I was playing in a Talents a lot too. So I wanted to end on a board that didn't lose the Talents because a lot of people, that's kind of their only out to M-Pen was Talents. And then also pretty much all my opponents was trying to bait me into going to Battle Phase, which happens a lot with Thunder anyway. I didn't fall for it, and logic is you kind of keep the trap and then you can just win from there.
Yeah.
So that happened a lot, and then sitting on Apex, I'm not losing to Talents ever. So that happened a lot. My only losses were pretty much to Rogue, and I lost to 1 Fire King, and I lost to, in top 16 was Anti-Spell game 3 with 4 spells in hand. So it is what it is. And it was through the other Thunder spells. Everything here is pretty standard. I didn't like the new card.
Soul Scoury.
Yeah, I thought it was going to win more and also loses more to Droll. Didn't know how much people were going to be on Droll this weekend. We decided that Droll was a good card into the Bonfire matchup. For me, though, I found I would rather play obviously the pots and then more consistency cards for going second and also not losing to Droll myself. So I was maining 2 Fisher.
Okay.
The reasoning behind that was it wasn't even that bad going second in a Fire King because it makes them play kind of weird with the Kieran lines and things like that as well. So that came up a lot. Also was maining 2 thrusts and then kind of the thrust package and 3 evenlies.
I was saying, like, Flunder is like the only deck in the game that's still playing 1 Dark Ruler.
100%. This came up. So when I played against Voiceless, he had the negate up. I thrusted. He let me go through. His teammate actually said to him, "We just lose if he has Dark Ruler." He didn't think I was playing it, and it was the one in deck. Dark Ruler evenly his board, and he lost. So some people aren't expecting this. Maybe after this they will. But the 1 Dark Ruler did come up, and it came up also a ton because a lot of the Fire King boards end on just an Apo. So top 16 he was just an Apo, and then 4 back row. I evenly hit him. He kept the anti-spell, ended up losing because of the 4 spells in hand. But if if he kept the apple, if he kept any other card, he would have lost.
Yeah, like the funny thing about like Flunder is that it's kind of like the exception to the rule where you don't care about your opponent's graveyard against Fire King, you care
Not
about
at
like
all.
what's on the field. So like Dark Ruler usually would be bad against Fire King because you don't deal with her grave, but you're never special summoning, so Princess is
Princess
irrelevant.
doesn't come up. And
Yeah.
the Amble Whale also, you're going to spin it back at Raza anyway, so it's never really going to trigger. So the only thing I was scared of was basically an apple on board and maybe playing through the IP. That was basically it.
Yep.
Extra Deck did not use it a single time. There is theory behind everything, but it was kind of tricky. The line that I seen a couple times was the Almiraj and the Hita. I kind of would rather, if I'm going to do that, probably go into Zeus instead if I'm going second, because obviously you're never doing it going first. But on the other end of that, this was very important for the Voiceless matchup, because you can chain block the Entis if they're playing Maximus. So basically you send these two if they're playing Maximus, you go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, the Entis gets a pop. Didn't come up this weekend because I ended up beating the Voiceless player pretty easily, but it would have came up because he was playing Maximus.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, oh, these look like Ultimate Slayer targets, which I know the deck can technically play.
The difficult part about Ultimate Slayer, we talked about it this weekend, but it has negative synergy because I'm maining all the macro cards, so you can't use it under Shifter, you can't use it under... So it makes it a little bit tricky. We were thinking about playing it, but it didn't really come up this weekend.
Yeah, like what we wanted is if we did Shifter some people and we drew like a kind of medium flu hand, we wanted the rest of our cards to beat like if they went IP pass and like for like an SP. So we wanted, if we did draw Shifter plus anything else, it would still kind of get us there if they tried to put up a bit of a fight
100%.
rather than Slayer, which we didn't feel like Slayer ultimately won us the match. So we didn't want to play a negative synergy card that was only kind of good.
Yeah, and kind of their logic as well for kind of the rogue matchup, so for Branded, things like that. I was playing 3 Ash. Didn't start it in too often. I did start it in versus Cash, which is a matchup that I ended up playing against, which was kind of iffy for me. I ended up winning that, but it was really close. On the other end of that, the only real matchup I was kind of scared of was Lab. Lab is not the greatest matchup with Flu, but on the other end, kind of everything else was catered towards my bad matchup, so I did have that for Lab as well. Also didn't go in. It is kind of an odd one. Sometimes you want to go that first instead of M-Pen versus Lab because they can't really play, especially if you have these two because you're negating their normal, then you have the map, and then it's kind of over with from there.
Yeah.
This was kind of my sudden patterns versus Fire King all weekend. So the easy sudden patterns was because you're playing these in the main. It was an easy 4 in 4 out, so there wasn't much to think about in that matchup because of the fact you're playing the Dark Ruler and then and these, so 4 in 4 out if you're going second.
You would take out the Fishers and the
Yeah, and on top of that, because I'm going first with the Fishers, sometimes I left even 1 in going first because it's kind of a surprise going first when you spin the field spell. So that was kind of iffy, but I did like that this weekend. Dark Ruler came up a ton versus Rogue as well. The only iffy kind of side of cards were the Lightning Storms, but kind of crazy story about this. Me and Blake were talking about it in the Voices matchup. I was gonna only side 1 in, and I ended up not doing it. I ended up siding in 2. So he had the Omni negate. He negated the first one. He had 4 back row, and then I thrusted for the second one. And because he negated the activation, I was able to use that for the second one and blow away his back row and just beat him from there. So because he negated the activation, keeping the second one in did come up, and it kind of cooked this whole weekend. So this was really nice. On the under end of that, this is the third fish if we're going first versus Fire King. Also stops the droll, obviously, in other matchups too, so sometimes I just want to have it versus Rogue. Didn't come up too much. Duster and then Herald the Abyss. This is for purely because most decks aren't worried too much about purely this format, but Flunder doesn't really have an out to the because you're not playing hand traps, so you don't really have a way to stop them. So they're going to end on like a 9 Mat Noir. You don't really have a way to out it, so this is kind of the only way to out it. So it was a matchup that I was scared for, didn't end up seeing, and then obviously the 2 other Feather Storms.
With Thrust, I mean, so you're basically playing like what, 4?
Yeah, I don't think I sided out Thrust all weekend, so I'm playing 5. I'm kind of playing 5 targets for this, and the hands that you brick and they just ash you, you end up sitting on this and you pass this one anyway.
You survive and then you make
Yeah, like game 3 is where he goes first is like almost unlosable because he puts in 3 Storm, 3 Fisher, and has 3 Shifter.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'm not losing a roll.
But like,
Floowandereeze.
Yeah, Floowandereeze. I do want to get a shout out to Jordan Couture. These guys know this weekend I ended up putting regular Ryza on my list. Had to sprint back and change that last minute to Mega Ryza, so he called that out last minute when I was sending my deck, so thank God for that. And shout out to these guys. This was a fantastic tournament.
All right, well, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, huge congratulations for your top 16. And hopefully I see you guys more often killing it at these YCSs. That would be sick. But yeah, that's it for this video. Take care, guys. Peace.